He's the man, he's the myth, he's the legend, he's the scientist with all the answers and all the questions. It's time for another episode of Alex's Science Corner.
Oh, thank you. Oh, please, thank you.
What's going on in the wide, wide world of science, my friend?
All right. Well, first off, let me welcome our surprise guest host, Rodney. Welcome aboard.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning. Story number one. Scientists have identified a new type of human brain cell. They've called the cell the rosehip neuron because the cell looks like rosehip flower. And obviously, it's a new type of cell that they've discovered in the human brains, and the interesting part about it is this cell does not appear to in rats. They don't know if it appears in other primates. They know it appears in humans, not in rats, and it's trying to figure out what level or what other mammals may have this type of cell. It's an interesting little cell that they're just beginning to figure out. Most cells, when they fire, they send signals to other brain cells, and the pattern of signaling between the cells gives you how we think. Well, these particular cells, they actually prevent firings, or they slow down. They act as like a speed bump to firings. One of the researchers or one of the articles described it as it's like a set of brakes that will let you stop at a grocery store, but the brakes won't stop you anyplace else. They will only stop you at a grocery store. And this is important because there's a lot of thinking and brain functionality that you kind of want to have slowed down. Because one of the things that happens with, if your brain is firing too much, that can go into a seizure. There's other things that it can inhibit, like alcohol and drugs turn off inhibitors. And so when you start to act and react when you're drunk or when you're high, it's turning off these kind of cells.
Hence the walk of shame.
Or whatever else happens, anything else that you're doing that inhibits, and so these cells act as part of that. And again, the interesting part about this is that they are seen in humans. We don't know how far the primate chain it goes through other bits, but we don't see it in rats. And one of the challenges about that is we do use a lot of rats for brain studies because it's easier and more ethical to do certain things to rats that we would not do to humans. And so they use rats for testing different things, but obviously we can't test. It's not a good analog model for humanity, but it's easier to test certain things on rats than we can test on humans. But they're still learning about this. They recently discovered the cell. They've found some of its properties. There's still a long way to go to find out more about it, what it does, what kind of illnesses you could be suffering if they're not working right. Are these illnesses related to the fact that these particular cells are not working right? Still a long way to go, but the discovery of a new brain cell that seems to be only in humans or only in primates is pretty
cool. Not all humans have brain cells. Not all humans have them. Let's use them.
I'm not going to say anything more. I think our listeners can find that to be self-evident.
Wait until Tuesday.
See the co-hosts of this show. All right, next story is this week they detected a small leak in the International Space Station. Now, the leak was small enough that it happened in the middle of the night for the crew, so the NASA didn't bother waking them up because the leak was that small.
Put your thumb in the wall, boys.
I will get there. That is what happened. Give me a moment. So anyway, but when they woke up, they did have the crews, and the crew started shutting off sections of the space station to find out which section had the leak. And what they found, it is the Soviets have the Russians have a rocket attached, or the capsule. It's used as this transfer vehicle and the escape module in case they ever had to leave the station in a hurry. Part of that module, it looks like a micrometeorite had struck it, and it made a 2-millimeter hole in the ship.
And that's all it takes, man.
That's all it takes,
Wow.
yeah. And they figured if they didn't clean out or didn't seal the hole, it was going to take about 2 weeks for the station to lose all its air with that hole.
You know, a small hole leads to bigger things.
Well, it wasn't going to be growing on its own, but it was causing a leak. So one of the scientists, or one of the astronauts there from the ESA, or European Space Agency, his name was Alexander Gerst, they found a hole and he plugged it with his finger until they could get some tape over it. And then once they got the tape over it...
Don't tell me it was duct tape. Please.
No. It's a type
But then
of
again, I would be really...
1,002 uses.
Wow.
Look,
that would be
it's-
a great marketing point for
Yeah.
duct tape.
Look, it was they then used a special epoxy to actually
Sure.
do the sealing of the hole.
Covered
So
by
it's
duct
just,
tape.
hold the finger until you get the tape over it, and then you got the tape over
Crazy
it.
glue.
And it's something like that. It's an epoxy. They put it into the hole and seal the hole. Now, it's on part of the spacecraft that is going to be ejected before the spacecraft enters the atmosphere. So it's not something that's going to be mission critical. But it is something that, a little tiny pebble that was 2 millimeters wide hit the space station, and it caused a hole.
Yeah, but
and
you would
started
think there'd
to
be a
leak.
lot of stuff hitting. I mean, there's
Yeah,
a lot of
because
stuff floating
There's a
around.
lot of stuff.
I mean,
right.
how do they prevent that? I mean,
They do not prevent it from happening.
so you would think
yeah.
that would be happening more often, right?
But it's so.
It
I'm
is-
thinking it's so big out there. The chances
Right, there's
of you
gonna-
getting
yes,
it are.
it is a combination of both.
Yeah.
Well, isn't
I-
there a lot of crap flying around just from us sending crap out there? In the,
Yes, but it's
Yeah.
so vast.
yeah,
It's,
It's-
almost like winning the Powerball.
And it's both things. I mean, it really is. It's both things. There's enough stuff out there that stuff is going to hit eventually. On the other side of that, it's also space is big. Now we are talking about low Earth orbit where the space station is, so you do have more debris in that area than you're going to have just in general space. But stuff like this can happen all the time.
You probably get some caught in your throat too.
Yeah. And last quick story is New Horizons, which was the satellite that was used. I don't want to call it satellite. It was the space probe that was used to take all those beautiful pictures of Pluto. It flew by Pluto. It is approaching its next target, and it's taking its first pictures of the next target in the Kuiper Belt, which is way past Pluto. It's taken its first pictures. The pictures, or the object it's approaching, is a Kuiper Belt object, which is like a large comet or a Pluto-sized object. And the name of the object it's approaching is called Ultima Thule. It does sound like a bad villain from a sci-fi movie, though. But the object is called Ultima Thule, and it's going to do a flyby on January 1st of 2019. So in a few months, it's going to fly by Ultima Thule. But they've taken the very first pictures from the cameras on the New Horizons probe.
Can you see that in NASA site?
Yes.
Very cool.
And how long will it be before it comes back around?
It is not.
Or not in this lifetime.
Oh, it's not coming back.
No, bye-bye.
No, the New Horizons probe is going out. The only way for it to get to Pluto in the amount of time that to make it in a lifetime, it had to be going really fast. So it's leaving the solar system.
I think, what is it, 25,000 miles an hour is how fast they can go?
I couldn't tell you what the exact speed is.
But
On it. Yeah,
somewhere around
it's going really fast. Yeah, it's going fast.
All right. If you want to contact Alex right now for any science-related questions or questions related to these stories, you can call us right now at 203
837
99.
24